chicken. It's going to be really crispy on the outside. We're going to keep it really clean. We're going to get rid of any excess grease. Lovely and crispy, perfect for a snack Japanese fried chicken. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prepare the chicken to put into that really crispy breadcrumbs that we have. Now, I have one chicken breast here. I want to slice it reasonably thin, just thin enough so that it'll cook quickly and stay nice and crispy, but also thick enough that it'll still be lovely and juicy and it just won't dry up in that oil. So just straight across the breast like that. That's what we're looking for. So I'm going to give it some nice salt, and some nice pepper. Now what we're using as a tenderizing agent today, very unusual, but you'll see this quite a lot in Japan, is sake. Now we all know sake from going to Japanese restaurants, but you probably weren't familiar with it in cooking. But it is a really, really good tenderizer, so I'm just going to place it in on top of my chicken, and what we're going to do is we're just going to massage it into that chicken. I guarantee you'll be so surprised at not only the distinct flavour that it's going to give the chicken, but how incredibly juicy and tender it's going to be. So basically, massage it for about 2 minutes, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to cover that and leave it to marinate for about 30 minutes before we go to the next step. So my chicken's been marinating for about half an hour, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out, and I've set up a sieve in my sink here. So basically the chicken goes straight in, and just make sure you dry it off very thoroughly. You really want to get rid of any excess moisture, because that moisture is going to go into the oil, and it's going to mean that your chicken's not going to get really nice and crispy, and that's so crucial to this whole dish. So not only am I drying it in my sieve, making sure I just press out any excess water, I've also got a little plate with some paper towel, and just being very, very careful, I'm going to spread that evenly around the plate, and just let any of that excess sake just absorb into the tissue paper. So what I've done is I've taken the chicken off the kitchen roll, and you can see that it's really, really dry. Very, very important. Just take your time, pat it down. So now what we're doing is we're going into our production line. First of all, into the flour. Now you want to make sure that you coat it nice and evenly. Just shake off any excess flour. So off that comes, and the next thing we put it into is our egg and salt mixture. Just dunk it in there, and then once again we want to get rid of as much of that excess egg as possible, and just coat it really, really thinly. That's what it's going to give it, that lovely crispiness. So just drop that in there. Do the same with the other one. And I'm just doing these 2 at a time to show you. By all means put 4 or 5 in there, because otherwise you'd be here all day making this chicken. So just toss it in your breadcrumbs. Now I'm using panko breadcrumbs today, which really is the key to this. Panko is a Japanese type of breadcrumb, and basically once they're fried, they're extremely, extremely crispy, and they're a little bit sort of jagged, so you get that really crunchy crispiness. So toss it around in there, and that's basically what we're looking for. That's how we're going to fry our chicken. So once all our chicken's done, we'll put it on a plate, and we can start to put it into that lovely hot sizzling oil. So I've breaded all my chicken and just laid it on a plate. Now if I feel that, it feels absolutely dry and really crispy, and I can tell that once it goes into my oil, it's going to fry up perfectly. So once again, very important in cooking, what I've got is a production line. So I've got my chicken, absolutely ready to go. In the middle, I've got my oil, which you can just see is at 180 degrees, which is absolutely perfect. Now very, very careful if you're using oil on the stove. You really do have to be extremely careful. If you have a little fryer at home, that's the best option. Now the last part of my production line is I've just got a dish with plenty of paper towel in there. Paper towel is crucial to this whole process. It's going to catch all that fat that drips off the chicken and keep it really, really crispy. So another way of testing your oil, if you don't have a thermometer, is just poke it in like that, and you can see it fizzing all around. That's the exact temperature we're looking for. If your chicken's doing that, it's ready to go in. So I'm going to fry it about 6 pieces at a time as we keep that temperature in the oil. Now, very important as well, if you're cooking in a pot like this, I'm laying the chicken like that, and I'm dropping it away from me. If there's any splashes of oil from that chicken, they're going to go in that direction, just away from me. I've got what's called a spider here. You can use a slotted spoon. Just move it around constantly. Just like that. That ensures that it's going to brown up evenly all over. And because of the way we've cut the chicken nice and thin into those strips, it's not going to take more than about 45 seconds to a minute to cook, which will ensure that it's nice and crispy and lovely and juicy in the centre. Just lift one piece out now. I can see that it's golden brown, and I know that that's basically cooked. So we strain it, making sure to get rid of all that excess oil, and then it goes straight on to our lovely paper towel. And make sure every single piece of chicken is touching the paper towel. And then after about 30 seconds, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it over like that, and that'll drain the oil from the other side. So as soon as it goes in there, I'm just going to season it with a little bit of salt, and I can tell that that's going to be really, really nice, crispy Japanese.